The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Live TV. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip, and your volume's low.
Well, it seems to be there's tech problems all over the place this morning. Our board locked up, so the show's starting a few minutes late. We will rebroadcast later on this afternoon at 5 o'clock in full. So please, if you miss anything towards the end of the show, go there. The first thing I want to do is I want to reach out to one of our loyal viewers, Linda Raposa. She recently suffered the loss of her daughter. I spoke with her briefly yesterday, and no parent should bear the burden of burying a child. So Linda, the condolences and our sympathies go out to you and your family, and if there's anything we can do, just let us know. We're here for our community. So.
And I echo those sentiments. Whenever, no parent should ever have to bury their child. So
yeah,
you have our utmost sympathy.
Yeah, I fixed your sound problem.
Yeah, well,
this is getting nutty today. Don't ask me why. I guess it was
Friday.
It was that commentary that Carlos gave earlier today.
Because it was Friday.
Yeah,
it's Friday, and Carlos screwed up everything. So we'll blame Carlos for everything.
Yeah, we'll blame Carlos, but he gave a commentary on trash earlier this morning. It is currently online, so please don't hesitate to watch it, and it's going to be interesting. The first thing I want to talk about is this Hillary-Trump scenario, which has been going on for ages, and as even the national media is saying, we're getting the worst of two candidates, and so which can we have? I think the biggest problem we have here is that the politicians aren't learning. Hillary announced yesterday or today that she has got on the short list for Secretary of State Vice President Biden. Is she not listening to the voters? They're sick of this inbred, incestuous appointment and position for jobs. This is just nutty. And, this is the problem we have. The people are not being listened to. We see this every day in our own backyard. We see this with our mayor. We see this with our city council. We see this with our school committee. They don't care. I am the mayor. I am God. Worship before me. I am a city councilor. I will not legislate by referendum. Worship before me. This is the problem we have. And when you, the voter, do not take it upon yourself to say, no more of this, you get what you ask for. So remember, every time you vote for that clown who fixed that pothole in front of your house, who for 30 years has done nothing for you, and then you wonder why your taxes keep going up?
Well, CJ, that's a fact. I mean, we echo the sentiments of that rep in Rhode Island who made it very clear. He said, and he did the right thing, but he said, you want to fix this system? You have to elect, you have to go and exercise your only right to overthrow the government now. And that is vote. Vote them out and keep putting people in until they do the business of the people. You can't pick up your rifle and go and start a revolution like they did in the colonies, because right now they don't even need an army. I mean, most police departments have got Humvees and all kinds of equipment, and you're not going to win that battle. It's far too much firepower. So the only way you have left in this nation is basically to do what this country was designed to do. Vote. Vote them out. You know, it's about the business of the people. How long are they going to spend money and not on necessary things, on things they should be spending and on, no priorities, just on pay raises and more money going down the toilet, and then they just keep bonding and doing whatever they want. And when they hire people, it becomes, like you said, inbred Jed. I mean, all we have to do is look at Mary Sahadi. She moved her way into city government. They had the contract to audit the city for years, and frankly, they didn't do a really great job, her company, the people she works for. And now that she's in as a city employee, yeah, well, you know, city people know the town people. Now she gets over to Swansea, she's on the Diamond Board, and we look at lawyers who do the same thing. Lawyers who don't establish good practices, they work for the city, and then they get business thrown at them because they're connected to the city, and they get pretty lucrative pays. We all know the story of the last administration that hired a girl right out of college because she was friendly with the Corporation Council and paid her at more than double what the starting salary was for a recent graduate, no experience, from law school. You went to the DA's office, you got 1/2, even though you were trying cases every day and had a ton of workload because you were, you know, there are a lot of criminal cases out there, and you were going to work for half the salary and half the benefits. But this girl, because she was politically connected, and you know, you go, oh, that's the way it is. Well, yeah, you know, to a degree. But you know something? If you're going to, it's bad enough that it happens. But when it happens, the least you can hold politicians accountable for, and there should be consequences and accountability, is that the people they hire are qualified for the positions, and they live in the city. Not that difficult. You hire somebody to be a department head, he should be qualified to be a department head. You don't just hire your friends because, as I said, and we see it, as you said, on the national level. Everybody's sick and tired. Look at the rhetoric. Everything is all about, you know, issues that are totally unrelated. You know, I'm sick and tired. You know, this one did this. And, you know, it's about accountability. It's about trust. But that's what they do. That's their psychological warfare. They completely muddy the waters with issues that may be personally, you know, important, but realistically, in an election for President of the United States, they're irrelevant. It's irrelevant what my auto mechanic does personally. What's relevant is if he can fix my car. You know, they talk about, oh, he's not fit to be commander-in-chief and she's not fit. You really think that the President of the United States, they're commander-in-chief, but they got the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Do you really believe that a president has even the most basic, fundamental understanding of military operations to think that they are actually in charge? It's like the Queen of England, commander-in-chief. Commander-in-chief that in some cases never wore a uniform. They weren't even a private or a private first class in the military, let alone a general or an admiral and a general of the armies. This is why the complexity of the presidency of the United States is mind-boggling. And the only way you can be effective at doing that job is getting quality people on your team, people who are experts in their field. You want to deal with the economy, you have your advisors should be people who are really experts in the field, and they're going to do something for the good of the people. Military, you've got your Joint Chiefs of Staff. You need that.
And in Fall River, we have Kathy Ann.
And exactly, and that's the thing. When you surround yourself with good people, we're going to make good decisions and have a good government. And for these people who, they got this myth that the President of the United States knows everything. You have to know everything. Well, you don't have any foreign policy experience. Well, there are people with tons of Henry Kissinger, i.e. example, right? Okay. You get good people, you get good results. You get people who are unqualified and who are cronies, you get bad results. So what happens? Fall River.
You elect the bad people.
Fall River.
Yeah.
Look at Fall River. So you surround yourself with cronies and political hacks, and that's what happens. And what happens in government? Waste of money on the federal level, on the local level, and we get back to that song that we sing all the time. It's up to you, the voter. The only way we can ever fix this city is put people in those chairs who remember they represent us, not special interests. It's that simple. You have to vote. And like I say, granted, this is not the greatest election I've ever had to look at, because when I walk into the voters booth, I said on a previous show, I mean, the two most unpopular candidates in the history of the United States. But let's look at the myth. The WikiLeaks just broke the story about how many millions of dollars Bill Clinton made while Hillary was Secretary of State. Oh, but Hillary didn't have anything to do with it. No. It's just therein lies the example of what politicians do. They tell you they're for the poor people. They tell you that or as her husband said, who made millions and millions of dollars speaking to rich people and getting contributions because of his obvious influence on a Secretary of State. I feel your pain. Really? Really? You're getting $250,000 to make a speech. And you can make a speech a day, or 2 speeches a day, or 3 speeches a day. 40 million, 50 million, 100 million, who cares? When it comes to those numbers, $1 million here, $1 million there, after a while you're talking about real money. But do they care about us? No, they tell you they care about you. They don't care. They don't live in your world. Try to walk into one of these $10,000 a plate dinners. Try to gain access as a regular person. Myths. Politics, the political system in this country has been corrupted. I don't even know if we've got a monarchy anymore, a constitutional monarchy anymore. We may be up to oligarchy. and the reality is that's what we've got. These people, I look at commercials now. I see commercials from congressmen who I haven't heard from since the last election. We look at the commercials for these other politicians. Ayotte from New Hampshire took millions of dollars from the Koch brothers, voted for big oil, tax breaks for the rich, but didn't vote for allowing students to refinance their loans. Kids from working class families who are up to their ears in debt when they graduate from college.
So what?
Yeah, so what? The Koch brothers gave me $40 million. I don't care. To the hell with those people in my own state that pay taxes and they're up to their ears in debt. What do we care? That should be the mantra. That's the mantra of all the politicians when you allow them to get this, you allow them to do what they're doing. It's like, what do I care? It doesn't bother me. You're like Alfred E. Newman. What? Me worry? So, it's just, after a while, and you look at it and you go, we can fix this. That's what really disturbs me. We can fix this, but we can only fix it if we go to the polls and stop voting for your cousin's best friend or somebody who gave you a chow mein sandwich or somebody who fixed a street light or a pothole, but then walks into the council chamber and puts this city in irretrievable debt mortgages the future of your great-grandchildren, runs this city like it's a blank check, and does nothing really for us. No big increase in firefighters, no big increase, no real essential services. What do they spend the money on? Pay raises, and they never, they're always out of money, but they got surpluses. We can't fix this. But you got to stop voting for people like being a city councilor or a school committeeman or a mayor is a popularity contest. When I go out and hire a contractor or somebody to do work for me or a doctor to operate on me, I get the best doctor I can find, the best auto mechanic I can find, the best roofer I can find, the best carpenter I can find. Yet the people who hold basically my quality of life in the community I live in their hands, I go elect somebody because they gave me a chow mein sandwich? Really? Let's get real. Let's start the change. I mean, this is election just a warm-up. I mean, we're choosing between bubonic plague and cholera in this election. And so what are you going to do? I mean, unfortunately, we got to pick one. And, and if you don't, somebody else will pick them anyway.
Exactly.
So, the bottom line is we're stuck. We're stuck for 4 years with one of these two. But consider this the preamble to next year. Next year, we're going to be voting on a mayor, on a city council, on a school committee, and a CPA. So we got a lot of work to do, a lot of educating to do. We've got a lot of activity to get ready, to bring voters out, to change the way they look at things. Stop voting like this is your high school prom queen election, and realize that these people hold the quality of your life, the life of this city, in their hand, and they're doing a really crappy job.
Screw you, taxpayer!
We should have a new one that says double screw you.
Well, Senator Michael Rodrigues decides that we need to tax hard cider higher than we're doing now. Now, is that before or after he buys his alcohol in New Hampshire?
That's what I was going to say. Doesn't matter to him. He gets his stuff in New Hampshire.
So I really have to question again. And you voters, you people, keep re-electing these people. No matter what they do.
Unopposed.
Yeah, unopposed. All of them. I mean, you know why nobody wants to run, Chip? I've actually spoken to people. Do you know why nobody wants to run? Number one, they don't want the headaches. And number two, I'm going to quote this now, it's a rigged election.
Yeah.
I said, what? They're like, you can't win because the incumbents already have an inroad on everything. Number one, they're top of the ballot. Number two, every law they break, nobody attaches anything to them. There's always a finding of no finding. And the people of and I'm going to quote this now, and this isn't coming from me, although I tend to agree with it most of the time. The people of Fall River are too stupid to get out of their own way. And they are. They are, and that's the sad part about it. Because your guy is great. I want a whole new government, but don't touch my guy. How many times have we said that, Chip?
Oh, absolutely, CJ. You're right. And the thing is that, look, I have a problem with this whole thing. I mean, I was on my laptop the other night, and I went on YouTube to watch something, and who do I see? Charlie Baker.
Yeah.
Making a commercial. Now we got and it disturbs me, and I see it on television all the time. And of course, Michael Rodrigues is in favor of charter schools and stuff. But I'm gonna say, this is my personal opinion. But the fact is, it disturbs me when the governor of this state, who, number one, has made millions and millions of dollars in the healthcare industry, and now with this opioid crisis, all his friends are making millions and millions more, goes on and advocates a publicly funded private school system.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. We're creating when the governor of the state gets on television and makes an ad that says, you know, we all want our children to go to really good schools, but sometimes schools are failing. And the answer is, like it always is in politics, take more of our tax money to run a private school system for where private entities can make money and with the public dollar, and say we're going to have two separate public school systems. We're going to have a charter school. And so, and then he said, the answer is to create these, to not fix the failing schools. See, that's the whole problem. Government never fixes anything. Their fix is to create more jobs and an entire other bureaucratic system. So the governor of this state goes on television and says, well, you got a failing school in your town, you should get a public funded with your tax dollars, a private school system funded by the public that not every kid can get into, obviously. So what are we going to do? We're going to, there's 32,000 kids waiting to get into charter schools. Well, after that 32,000 gets in, there'll be 32,000 more. So what are you going to do? Eliminate the public school system and privatize with public money?
Well, that's one of the arguments, is that this is the beginning of the privatization of the public school system.
Absolutely.
But here's the problem. The problem exists on both sides, okay? Because when you look at our teachers' unions, and I have a great deal of respect for teachers, and I understand you have to unionize, but all they keep screaming for is more and more money and smaller and smaller classes, and everyone wants smaller classes. The problem is the school departments are screaming for more and more money, but it's for more and more do-nothing administrators, like deans of students.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and I remember when we used to exist with one principal, maybe one vice principal. But then now you've got them with one principal, two vice principals, a dean of students, 3 counselors, 4 this. And and a lot of these people paid for what we call Title I money, which doesn't require certifications, which doesn't require a lot of things. And guess what? They're all political hacks. And as a matter of fact, at the last budget meetings for the Fall River School Department, they were told, you need to cut 3%, but do not touch Title I. I wonder why. I wonder why.
That's where all the cronies are.
Could it be because someone like Kevin Agia, who used to work in the school system, was paid for with Title I money and wasn't qualified for the position he was holding because he was a former state representative?
You think?
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, we look at these things and we see them all the time.
Yeah, but
People who are not qualified are getting paid lots of money to do lots of nothing.
Way too many chiefs, not a bit. But, this is the thing. What disturbs me is I see, it's driving me crazy because I see this commercial every single night.
I know, I see it 3 times a day.
And I see it sometimes 4 or 5 times a night with Charlie Baker. Then I get on my laptop and I see him again. It's like I can't get rid of this guy. But the thing is, see, pay attention, taxpayer. Pay attention, people. This is why we're so screwed up. This is why we're taxed so high. It's because let's have a real world scenario. This is what government does. That's why it doesn't work for us, because we're actually responsible and we have consequences if we spend too much money. They don't. They just keep killing us.
Right, because we're the bank.
So let's get Charlie Baker's argument. Oh, your schools are failing, so we're gonna fix it by having charter schools. Really? Well, if you get all of the good students out and you leave all the students that are disciplinary problems and dummies in the public schools, they'll never succeed. Why not fix the problem? No. So let's put this in a situation for you and I. How long would we have any money left if I say, well, my car's not running right? What's my solution? Buy another car. Really?
Did you go to the Jaysville Career School?
But that's what
Finance?
government
I
does.
know.
Start a new system.
Yeah.
Oh, my washing machine is making a noise. Well, buy another washing machine and have the two of them side by side. And it's like, really? Because they're not spending their money.
No.
You know, I mean, Jaysville can't even buy a car. He's getting us to buy his car.
Right.
You know, if he wants to use a city car, he should use one that's already on the books. He wants to get a special party van so he can take all his people on the
And the
on the
worst
party
part
bus.
about it is the city council approved it, and the voters said, "Yeah, let's do it! Yay! You got to give him a chance." It's been almost 11. I just had this argument yesterday. It's been almost 11 months. How much of a chance do I give him?
Like that's an absolute rationalization. It's a political.
Of course it is.
It's a political fallback. If you pick a brain surgeon and he kills you and he kills your one of your relatives because he's an incompetent and he did something absolutely wrong, are you going to say don't sue him? Just give him a chance. Give him a chance. Give him time. After he kills 10 or 12 more, he might figure out how to do brain surgery. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, these people are dealing with your money, my money. I don't give a damn. You run for office, prepare yourself for office.
Well, you know, the brain surgeon's problem wasn't that he doesn't know how to do brain surgery. The brain surgeon's problem is like another doctor that used to be in Rhode Island but came here to Fall River, who was trying to get up all the nurses' dresses. That was the problem, okay?
But I mean, this is what they do all the time. Give them a chance. You know, you don't give your mechanic. Your mechanic sucks. You find a new mechanic. The problem is these people. You know, these jobs are supposed to be. You're supposed to go in and do them. And there's no excuse because there are a lot of people that are experts in fields that you haven't. They called in Alan Silva from Florida. Great guy with books. He did all the books, gave them the solution to the city's financial problems, and the then Mayor Sutter went, "Oh, I'm not going to do that. People want, it might be too hard. It's going to be too hard politically to do it. So it doesn't get fixed. So, don't give me that, give him a chance. I elected you to do a job, not to give you a chance. If you want on-the-job training, Citizens Alliance for Accountability in Government will run classwork for how to be a city councilor and how to be a school committee and how to be a mayor. It's real simple. Do what the Constitution says. Be answerable to the people.
Well, and I had this conversation with the gentleman today in regards to a potential run for mayor. And we kind of knew that this individual wasn't going to run, and that's okay. But I think the bigger problem here is the fact that people who would do this job very well don't want it because they don't want the headache. Because this city can't get anything done. They just can't get anything done. We've been talking about trash for how many years? Okay, and we still can't get it right. And now we're looking at $1 million shortfall. $1 million shortfall. So what do? We went out and spent a couple of $100,000 on re-education for the third time.
It's less than $1 million now. This morning after I walked the dog, I drove down Ellsbury Street, and I saw 3 bags with a ticket on them.
Oh, there you go.
Because they weren't purple bags.
Yeah.
So they did that. And now they probably will never collect, but we have to reduce the fine from that $1 million shortfall because they did actually issue a ticket. That's the first one I've ever seen.
Yep.
The bags were on the street. I don't know if they took them out of the barrels or not, but they were on Ellsbury Street with a ticket. So I said, wow, that's the first trash ticket. So stay angry and remember, use purple bags.
No, what they should do is get rid of it finally.
You get fined.
What they should do is get rid of it finally. Have a great weekend, and remember, there is a pancake breakfast at Applebee's tomorrow morning, Saturday, to help with the Duval School project. And have a great day.
And have a good Halloween, because this place is always Halloween.